The OhioHealth Mothers Milk Bank opened its doors in 2005 after nurses working in the neonatal intensive care unit, along with neonatologists, saw a need to help small, premature infants.
Breast milk in general is the best thing that we can give our infants, and so when for some reason a mom can't give their own milk, it's the ideal food for babies. We don't want to compromise them any further when they're sick, and so breast milk has immune properties, it has growth properties, and research shows us that it's the best thing that we can do for infants.
The Milk Bank, located in Columbus, Ohio, receives donations from moms around the country.
There's a 3-step process that we use for screening for donors. There's a telephone interview, there's a paper questionnaire that's filled out, and then permission from the physician is also required. That allows us to assure that the milk that any infant is going to get is completely safe. We've looked at every aspect of communicable disease or bacteria that might be present in milk. When a mom becomes a donor, then we make it as easy as possible for them to provide us their milk. So we'll give them the containers. They can either drop it off at the milk bank, or we'll provide them the necessary information to ship it to us. And we do all that at no cost to the donor. We don't want moms to have to be concerned that, if they want to donate, that they're going to have a financial burden there. It's completely covered by the milk bank.
In just 10 years, the Milk Bank has had over 2,000 donors.
When we receive milk, we take it into the milk bank, and it is frozen until we're ready to pasteurize it. Once we thaw it, we get it ready for pasteurization. It gets cultured at that point to assure that there is no bacterial growth in the milk, and then it is frozen again before we send it out. Each month we distribute about 25,000 ounces, and that goes across the United States to about 50 different hospitals each month.
Sarah Kelly became a recipient of donor milk after the premature birth of one of her triplets.
My daughter Ivy was born on August 16th of 2013, and she was born at 22 weeks. And the doctor decided to leave the boys behind. So Ivy was born, but I was still pregnant with the boys. So of course I asked the question, can I breastfeed my daughter? Because that was one thing I always knew I wanted to do, was breastfeed my kiddos. The answer was obviously no. So I asked what my options were, and they said she can get donated human milk or she can get formula. So I asked, well, what is the best? Because what I want is the best for my kiddos, and donated human milk was the best option. So Ivy got donated milk for 8 of the 10 days that she lived. The boys were born 12 days after Ivy was born, 2 days after she passed away. I'm like, well, I couldn't feed Ivy, so I want to feed my boys. Jackson had a pretty significant brain injury. Benjamin needed a lot of oxygen support. So I still wasn't able to breastfeed. So I was, they helped me learn how to pump. So I started pumping. So the boys got my milk through their feeding tubes from the beginning. Eventually they had to be transferred over to the Children's Hospital, to their NICU. And that's where I first learned about the OhioHealth Mothers Milk Bank from one of the lactation consultants there, because my milk supply was greater than the boys were going to need. When it came time to start thinking about first birthdays, I never want to forget Ivy, and I don't think I ever will. You never forget the babies you lose. So I thought, Ivy got donated milk, and I still have this 13 cubic foot freezer full of frozen breast milk, and I'm still producing. So what better way to honor Ivy's memory than to give back? So I contacted the OhioHealth Mothers Milk Bank, and they got me started on the process of becoming a donor.
With every ounce of donated milk, moms like Sarah are helping to make a difference in the lives of premature babies.
It really meant a lot to me to be able to have something like a milk bank that can really just give babies that need that extra special something from moms, even when it's not from their own mom. They need that liquid gold, that breast milk, to give them a fighting chance. we got to be recipients, and then we got to give back and be donors. And so that was really something that meant a lot to us, to be able to be a part of such a special service to babies who might not have as good a fighting chance if they weren't able to have this service here in Ohio and up to all the areas that the OhioHealth Mothers Milk Bank serves.